Frequency, Chapter 9, Hearts Warming. Once the word got out that she'd been in contact with an extra-equestrial being, time flew for Vinyl. She had more than a few meetings with the princesses. The first time meeting Celestia had been a real treat. Scientists and astronomers came from all across Equestria to speak to the alien, and learn as much as they could about Addie. There were plenty from beyond Equestria's borders as well. Vinyl met more griffins, minotaurs, deer, caribou, and a plethora of other races that she'd likely never see again in her lifetime. There was even a couple of diamond dogs. A true shock, considering Vinyl never thought science and diamond dog could be used in the same sentence together. Then there were the interviews from newspapers and radio shows, calls from eccentrics asking about abducted loved ones, naysayers seeking to disprove Addie's existence, and at least 5 ponies hoping to make some kind of book out of the event. There was even a highbrowed fashion designer, Hoity something or other, who showed up to ask Addie about human clothing in hopes of starting an alien-themed line. Twilight was by far the most present of all Vinyl's visitors, though. She bombarded Addie with questions for a full week before finally leaving them be. And even then, she still contacted them via radio once every few days with a new question or 10. Equestria's newest princess worked closely with Luna on the task of determining Addie's position. This largely involved her moving the journey around in a defined area, while astronomers from all over the planet watched the night sky hoping to detect it. The process was tedious and boring, but Addie went through all of it with admirable conviction. It took a month for things to die down, at which point Vinyl was finally able to go back to her apartment without risk of being called back to the palace within a day or two. She returns to work at the club, which gained a significant boost to its clientele, and was treated like a celebrity there. She reveled in the attention at first, but before long it became annoying. Eventually the buzz died down, and she was allowed to go back to a somewhat normal life. Addie and Vinyl continued to speak on a regular basis. Addie's days had become routine, with at least an hour spent turning her ship in a new direction, and a few hours spent talking with Vinyl. For a while, ponies were allowed to speak to them on the government-protected frequency. But in time, she got tired of repeating the same things over and over again, and asked to limit such conversations to only once a week. Flash Sentry was officially reassigned to Canterlot Castle. He'd approached Princess Cadence to inquire about this, but she offered only one explanation.
It will be good for you.
He accepted the change in posting and continued to act as Vinyl's guard, even though they both questioned why she needed one. Despite continuing to live in the castle barracks, he was now a regular element of Vinyl's life, appearing in her club nightly and always walking her home. Vinyl stopped minding after the first month. It was mostly because she'd grown used to his presence, and on the rare occasion when she was fully honest with herself, could admit that she had come to enjoy having him around. 4 months had passed, and Addie was growing restless. While Luna insisted that progress was being made, there could be no certainty that the journey was ever going to be discovered. So when Luna promised to make an announcement on Hearthswarming Eve, Addie was beside herself with excitement. Now, snow fell outside Vinyl's window. Huddled in a warm blanket with some hot cocoa in her hooves, she watched the flurries with a pleased smile. Her father's radio sat on the floor, and she was leaning back against the side of her bed, on which her sunglasses lay. The world outside was still caught in the last rays of twilight. The lights were off to a trio of candles placed strategically around the bedroom to provide illumination. If she tried hard enough, she could just feel her dad's warm hoof on her shoulder.
So,
Addie said softly.
You and your dad would stay up all night and watch the snowfall, huh? All night. Actually, we made a game out of seeing who would fall asleep first. I won a lot more as I grew up.
Hesitantly, her friend asked.
Isn't this supposed to be a social holiday? And you spend it all alone now?
Yeah. Vinyl sipped her cocoa, a pleasant smile on her lips.
Hearthswarming was the one time of the year that I could spend with my dad. He never failed to be off, even with 3 jobs. He devoted this night to me, so this is my tradition. It's only right that I return the favor. I guess I can understand that.
There was a long pause.
Are Are you really okay with me talking to you now? I mean, it seems like a private time.
Nah, you're good, Vinyl said pleasantly. It's nice to have somebody to talk to while I stay up and play the game. Another sip. So, did they have a similar holiday on Earth?
Yeah, as a matter of fact.
Another pause.
If the onboard calendar's right, then it'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. It's called Christmas.
Christmas, huh? Vinyl let her eyes linger on the snow-covered roof of the building across the street. What did they celebrate it for?
It was a religious holiday. Christians believed the Son of God was born on Christmas Day. It was considered one of the 2 most important days in our calendar.
Was? Vinyl glanced at the radio. So, you don't believe it? When the human offered no response, she cast a curious glance at the microphone hovering over her shoulder. Is something wrong?
No, sorry.
Addie gave one of her patented sighs.
I did believe. I even bought a copy of the Bible. That's the holy book of Christianity. But I don't anymore.
Vinyl considered this, keeping her mug close to her face to absorb the warmth of the steam. You can do that? Just give up a belief?
I guess so.
Addie jumped to the next sentence a bit too quickly.
Are there religions in Equestria?
A few, but they're pretty isolated. Most ponies aren't very religious. Vinyl wondered if she shouldn't press the topic.
You're not then?
Nope. I do believe in Elysium, but that's about it.
Elysium?
Addie asked.
Is that like heaven?
Vinyl nodded and took a long sip. It took a moment to remember that Addie couldn't see her. One would think she would have stopped making that mistake by now. Yeah, that'd be it. I can't really imagine not existing, you know? Other than that, I'm not all that big on religion.
Must be nice.
Addie muttered.
It's hard to be disappointed in God when you don't push so much stock in him in the first place.
Silence pressed in on them. Vinyl wanted to speak, but couldn't find any words. Perhaps it would be better to not say anything.
I'm sorry.
Addie quietly sighed.
You're supposed to be relaxing, and here I am, ruining the mood.
It's alright. The unicorn shook her head. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything to say. This isn't really my area.
It's fine.
Another lingering silence, this one uncomfortable. Vinyl ran through possible responses for a while, her eyes on the ever-falling snow. Addie? It took a few seconds for Addie to answer.
Yeah?
I'm sorry you lost your faith. I'm here for you. You know that, right? Yet another lengthy pause.
Yeah, I know.
Vinyl nodded with a smile. If there's ever anything you want to get off your chest, just say so. If you think this Christian god has turned his back on you, I hope you find something to heal that hole. I'll help you find it, if I can. She waited for a response. Darkness had fallen in its entirety by now, and shadows flickered on the walls like specters. Vinyl watched them dance, and tried to imagine that the shadows were Addie. She envisioned a two-legged creature, like the Minotaur, could see arms and legs in those ever-vibrant shapes. Perhaps it was a ghost, there to give Addie some kind of embodiment on this curious night. Addie's voice arose, a voice from the shadow spirit.
Vinyl, you're a blessing, you know that?
Vinyl's ear twitched to the sound of a sniff. Are you crying?
No.
Addie replied hurriedly.
I'm not.
If you say so. Vinyl smiled and sipped some more of her cocoa. After a time, the ghost on the wall spoke again.
Thank you, Vinyl. I wish I was sitting there with you now. I'd give you a big hug.
I wish you were here too. A new, familiar voice piped up, strong and clear.
Give it time.
Vinyl jumped, nearly spilling her cocoa.
Don't sneak up on ponies like that! Princess Luna!
Addie's entire demeanor had changed in an instant.
Am I glad to hear you?
I am glad that you are glad, Luna said, sounding amused.
My apologies, Miss Scratch. It seems like an appropriate opportunity.
Vinyl settled back against the bed and chuckled. Yeah, I guess it was.
Wait.
Addie whispered.
How long have you been listening? Since Are You Crying?
Addie made a sound akin to a whimper.
I see.
Vinyl flinched and hurried to cover.
So, is it time for that big announcement? It is indeed.
There was the sound of paper being shuffled, something only that superior little white radio at the castle could properly pick up.
It has taken some time for Twilight and me to check the numbers, and we sent them to a few noted astronomers to check our checks. We thought we had your location determined.
Addie spoke up in a lull, her excitement dying down considerably.
Thought. I guess that means you were wrong, huh?
Vinyl sighed. If Addie were in the room with her, she might have set hoof on her shoulder. Or hugged her. Or something.
Sorry, Addie, but hey, it'll come in time. Right, Princess?
Luna's response was quick.
Did I say we failed?
Another moment of quiet. Then Vinyl let out a shout.
You did that on purpose! Did what? Are you implying something about your princess, Miss Scratch?
Luna was a master at sounding serious, while also showcasing her playful amusement.
That was cruel.
Vinyl grumbled.
Don't you think Addie's been through— Shut up, Vinyl!
With Addie's words, Vinyl's mouth closed so quick, she thought the clicking of her teeth might have been heard over the airwaves. She stared with wide eyes at the radio, having never heard that particular tone from her friend. Well, it sounds like someone's excited. After waiting so long for something so important, oh boy. Anyways, let's get on to our excited donators. Top donators: Jessie Smith, Soft 630, BadassWaffle, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, and IronSky. Matchbook 109, JockeTF, Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel, Sky, Sauce, and Rolan, Hexstar, Brother, Mordred, Omicron, Light, Ruben, Side 9052, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Rysel, Shadow, Luigi, 88, Chancellor, Crust, Big Smook, 369, Bobby, Teacher, Murder Princess, J1101, Calidus, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.